Reassessment by Kayla Leak. In today's automated world, students are used to being able to undo mistakes and redo work with the click of a button. Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and many technology tools now come with one button to undo mistakes and another button to redo them within seconds. In my fourth year of teaching, I have been analyzing whether or not to allow students to redo or retake assessments. Having an assessment at the beginning of the year that many students performed poorly on, I decided to allow a retake. Recently, I had many students perform well on assessment, with a few not passing. One of the students who admitted to not studying asked me if he could take a retake. This made me ponder the question, should I allow retake tests and redos on assessments for full credit? Will students take advantage of this system? Is it worth all the headache of organizing this in my classroom? At my current school, I look up to the veteran teacher next door. She is very organized and is one of the only teachers in our school who I noticed putting great effort into organizing a retake system. She teaches social studies and has very high expectations along with challenging application assessments. Many students have failed her original assessments, and so she goes through a process of grading, conferencing, retakes, and regrading a few times each quarter. I notice how much work and effort she has placed into this. I found this clip art photo to accurately describe how well she pulls this off. I want to work toward obtaining a similar system, but I want to find one that students aren't taking advantage of. I wonder if this is possible, and how could I prepare for this? Can it all be done? Looking through Twitter archives, there are many teachers who find this new grading system to be too overwhelming. At GradeSmarter posted on Twitter, when reassessment becomes a formal process, teachers become overwhelmed with regrading tests and double grading. #ATAssess. This has been a large part of why I have not created a seamless reassessment plan for my classroom yet. Why reward students with a second chance if they aren't putting the work in to start with? I stumbled across an article in the Washington Post that examined the idea of reassessment, written by Jay Matthews last month. He looks into some Iowa public schools that have tried to incorporate students being able to retake tests and redo assignments. While it seems that teachers and schools are making progress, they're still struggling with when students move on to the next grade. Matthews states, Solon can't guarantee mastery within its system. The school year ends and a door shuts on more instruction. Once the reporting period ends, Townsley said, our report of student learning is written in ink. Matthews, 2018. This shows that we have not yet found a system of achieving mastery in a whole school approach, but rather a classroom-by-classroom basis. Matthew also discusses that time is an issue. He shares that some charter schools have actually added an hour or two to their school day for this time to give students feedback and reassess. Unfortunately, this is not an option for the public school system. There are many roadblocks that these Iowa teachers are facing. Rick Wormelli is a guru in modern practices of teaching. I've enjoyed reading his chapters from his Fair Isn't Always Equal book. He also seemed to know a great deal of the topic of reassessment. Wormelli discusses that not all students learn on the timeline we expect. It is unfair of us to expect that from students. He explains, the goal is that all students learn the content, not just the ones who can learn on the uniform timeline. This quote really stuck with me and has swayed my opinion on the matter. I want to be a teacher that really makes a difference for my students, and this is one way that I can do that. He also states, irresponsible, forgetful, and inattentive students need us to be in their face more, not less. He goes on to share many examples of how adults in the real world take advantage of redos, such as driving tests and high-stake exams for placement of future careers. He even states, lawyers who finally pass the bar exam on their second or third attempt are not limited to practicing law only on Tuesdays. This is important to combat disbelievers of the system who state that retakes do not prepare students for the real world. Schimmer, 2016, discusses how there are many difficulties when allowing students to redo assignments and retake tests. He also describes the perfect solution to this. He shares that using a social contract in his classroom has switched the dynamic to not allowing students to abuse this privilege. The social contract states, "Here's how reassessment is going to work from now on. If you know more, can do more, or understand more, I will give you every opportunity to demonstrate more. 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, doesn't matter. You will have every opportunity for a reassessment. But it's not automatic. Reassessment is contingent upon 2 things. First, reassessment hinges on an authentic effort on the previous assessment. The whole process is about you learning from your mistakes via my feedback on what you did well and what you need to continue working on. Do everything you can to prepare, and I promise to help you. If you blow off the first assessment thinking you'll just do the retest, the whole process breaks down. I will have nothing to say to you, no feedback in order to help you improve. Since this is what's on paper, doesn't really represent what you know. Second, it is contingent upon you advancing your understanding. Something has to be different the second time, or third, so as to make this a productive experience. I will provide you with some targeted instruction that you will work on between the first assessment and the second. That is our social contract. You have to hold up your end of the bargain for this to be a productive experience. Otherwise, we're just wasting each other's time. It's not a do-over. This is about keeping you moving forward. Come in and tell me you don't understand, and I can work with that. Come in and tell me you're not ready, and we can tailor the experience to support you. Do this every single time, and I may suspect that you're trying to work the system. Remember, I see you every day, I know how you work, and I watch you practice. It will be easy for me to compare what I see every day with what I'm being told about your level of preparedness. This has to be a good faith practice. I want to focus on learning and not getting distracted by how long it takes you. But you have to meet me halfway to get the most out of the experience. If I suspect that you are not holding up your end of the bargain, we are going to have a conversation, and I will remind you of your social contract. If it persists, I may end up calling your parents and letting them know that it's becoming increasingly difficult for me to offer reassessment opportunities to you. It's not because I want to deny you the opportunity or make you earn it. It's because the process of reassessment is becoming a waste of time, and there are too many other students who want or need my assistance. We all get distracted when you worry more about working the system than learning, and when I spend more time trying to catch you than to help you. If we act in good faith, then the process of reassessment will allow you to maximize your levels of achievement. Does that sound reasonable? I found this contract to be very factual for students to understand the procedures of reassessment. This has many benefits of making sure that students know they are responsible. If they abuse the system, their teacher will have to make adjustments based on their choices. Schimmer, 2016, also shares a resource which he calls the Reassessment Reflection Page. This is a great tool to bring self-awareness to students of the process to obtain mastery. This reminded me of our portfolio self-assessments to help students keep reflecting on the learning process and growth. This seems like a great tool in which I would like to simplify the language for my own students to apply it to my own classroom. This connects with our class on the subject of standard-based grading. My school is currently in the process of switching all subjects to standard-based grading, and we were briefly trained on the main changes that will occur. One of those changes suggests that we are allowing for more opportunities for students to be reassessed. POPAM often states that there are too many standards to assess in an effective way. Reflecting on research, I find that Wormeli agrees. He sees that students are restricted to too many standards in a confined timeline. Based on this research, I have found that we should be less concerned with standards and pacing guides and more concerned with our students and their learning process. In discussion forums, we have also discussed how important it is to provide specific feedback for students to learn and grow. Incorporating this reassessment system into the classroom allows for more feedback before reassessing. After researching this, I agree with Wormelli and Skimmer that reassessing students often is something teachers must allow in their classroom. I plan to work toward placing a social contract into my classroom next year to set the stage for reassessment. I believe that not all children will learn on the timeline that is expected, and that we should allow them multiple chances to show that they are able to learn the content. This has been a category that I have been lacking in my teaching. This assessment has opened my eyes to the fact that there are many educators out there who are similar to my mentor teacher next door. While I know it will take much effort and organization of procedures, my students must have a teacher who works towards helping them learn on the timeline they are able to.